Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. Today we bring you another one of our Barside chats because we know you love hearing us talk nonsense. I'm Joanne and this is Tori.
Hello, hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us. Well, that was an off-the-cuff intro.
It really was. It really was. I've just done nothing but firefight for the last however long. I didn't write an intro.
Though.
I decided I would let Joe just ad-lib it today. It worked.
But it's okay though because pumpkin spice season is happening early.
I would like to wish you a blessed first day of early release pumpkin spice, Joanne.
To all those who
a blessed pumpkin spice release to you.
Pumpkin spice to you.
Thank you. I had mine.
I need to get to a Starbucks.
I literally was like, do I get this shit? Like first thing in the morning, but I know I'm going over there for lunch. So I was like, do I just no, because I know it'll happen. Yeah, because what would happen is I'd get one for breakfast and I'd go, I don't need it for lunch, that's fine. But then I'd be walking by and I'd be like, yeah, I think I need it. So and also the problem is I've been on like 2 to 3 coffees a day recently, and it's bad. The come down's hard. Rick's like constantly like, have some decaf, just have decaf, and I'm like, no, it's not enough. And then he's like, but decaf still has caffeine, and I'm like, no, not good enough. So it's pretty bad at the moment, and I couldn't double pumpkin spice because the sugar count would kill me.
yeah.
Saying that, I was on a call at work where we were talking about snacks, and one of the guys was like, "Oh, I think I'm the only person on this call that's in their 30s," and I was like, "No," and then I went, "I mean, yes, yes, you are." I was like, "It's just us 20-year-olds. It's just those of us in our 20s on the call. Certainly not someone that is basically near, like we like I didn't want to be like, yeah, no, actually same. So I was like, I mean, yes, we are all in our early to mid 20s. So yeah, I can have the sugar because I'm so young.
Yes.
But also I just choose not to.
Because she really thinks about things like that, maybe.
I do. I go, oh, what stress do I not want to put on my mid 20-year-old body? I should really cut out the sugar. Anyway. As I get the chocolate sweats on another episode.
Right, the chocolate sweats.
I told Rick about the chocolate sweats. I got the chocolate sweats. I went, oh, well, it was a lot. I said, I couldn't. It was really tough to handle. I just lost the plot. It was too much. And he was like, well, yeah, obviously you're not meant to have that much chocolate at one sitting. And I was like, I know. I got the chocolate sweats. And then he looked at me. He was kind of like, we were watching TV with me. And I went, oh, yeah, I got the chocolate sweats. It was bad. And he was like, yeah. Wait, did you just say the chocolate sweats? And I went, yeah, it's real.
It's a real thing.
And then he went, okay. And then carried on with what it was like. He stopped for a second, did like a verbal double take, and then he went, did you just say the chocolate sweats? And I went, yeah. And he went, no further questions, and carried on.
I said what I said.
Yeah, but he did, like, the thing is we have such weird conversations that he was like, okay, moving on. Like he like was like, got it.
Time.
He was like, got it. We don't need to qualify. Got you. Like, great.
Yeah. Anyway, we're having a little chat today. We know you enjoy those, dear listeners. So shall we start by saying what we're drinking? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sounds good. So, well, I guess mine's kind of relevant to when we talk about what we've been up to lately. I went camping in Wales, which was funny because I think we talked about when you went to Hay on Wye and you stayed in your shepherd's hut and all that. I forget what episode we talked about it on. I think we talked about it on camera, not off camera. I don't know. If not, Joe went to Hay on Wye to shepherd's hut. Surprise! And when I realised, so I was going camping for my sister-in-law's birthday. Oh no, hold on, redact that. Just bleep that out. Bleep that out. I went camping for my sister-in-law's birthday. And I kind of didn't really look into it a lot until probably like the weekend before. And then I was told like, oh yeah, actually, yeah, it's Hay on Wye. I was like, oh, Joe went. That's great. And you had recommended, you were like, oh yeah, when you're there, you can go to Sobremesa. And I was like, I can do that. That would be great. So took a trip there, was absolutely lovely. I put a reel up, which had some photos. Maybe I'll do something more, but that was the minimum token commitment I could do, was a reel with one of the latest trends. That's how I stay trendy. And what I'm drinking today. So I bought 3 bottles for takeaway, but quite big. So I was going to have the cans because they did like 3 different takeaways, cans, but I basically had all of those on tap.
Oh yeah.
And one of the ones I had was their farmhouse ale. I mean, it was all great. So Rick, even like, normally he's like, lager, I don't know how I feel about it. He had the farmhouse, we had the farmhouse pilsner to share, and he was like, actually, I said, I don't know if you're gonna like this, but let's find out. And I said, it might be too funky for you, I don't know. And he was like, no, I really like it. And he's like,
Oh,
it's too
good.
funky for me, get out, I really like it. So I ended up not getting any of the cans. I got 3 bottles, one of which was the farmhouse. It was one of the farmhouse beers. And well, I guess they're all technically farmhouse, but I got one of the ones that I had one of the last kegs from the 2023 variant, and they were like, the bottles are the new variant. So if you want to taste what the new variant's like, get that bottle. So I ended up getting 3 750ml bottles. Not drinking one of those today. All this is to say, they were so lovely when I went to check out, and he was like, here is a bottle of one that we've got that you should just try this and see. You know, we're giving it out to a few people to see if they want to try it. And it was made with white currants that they grow there. And he was like, basically it's going to be quite a big white currant season. So they're predicting that's going to be a pretty good white currant season. So that's what I've got. Is I've got their saison that's got white currants in it. I never really had a proper white currant, and I don't think I've had any beers that have had white currants in it.
Definitely not.
So I am very excited, because then this is one that can go on my
add it to your fruit list.
my fruit list. Oh, it's going to be. I cannot wait to share how wild my fruit list is by the time we get to that episode. Literally,
I've not been tracking. Maybe I need to look at that,
mate. You're going to be like, how do you even have that many? So excited, but very delicious. I poured it before we started recording so I could give Rick a few sips, because I was like, oh, he's not. He was with me, and we were like, I have this, and I was like, that is so kind. Very exciting. What are you drinking today?
So I went in the fridge and I just found something that's been in there a little while and needs to be drunk. So I am drinking peanut butter cup stout from Wiper and True.
Oh, I haven't had mine yet.
It felt like a peanut butter cup night. It's
good. It does.
I like it.
Oh, I need to have mine soon, because I need to have mine before it goes off, because I think it's a milk stout, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite milkshakey.
I like that,
but with a peanut, but with like peanut butter and dark chocolate.
Not mad about it.
I mean,
love a milkshake.
Wiper and Choose milkshake is amazing. So it's
one of my favourites.
It tastes like that, but with peanut butter and more dark chocolate. So pleased with it.
Solid. It's only, I look forward to having mine.
It's only 6% as well, so sessionable for a stout.
Comparatively
on school night.
Yeah,
especially as I'm going to be at festival tomorrow.
I know. Oh god, I feel like genuinely. So we're having, to be honest, like, I feel like it's fair to be candid. I'm an open book. I like to be honest, and I'm not a good liar at the best of times.
She really isn't.
I'm not a good liar, so I don't even try to be. I think it's because I live my life so openly honest. Even if I try to lie as a joke, I'm like, but yeah, we're having this Q&A episode probably because, I'm not gonna lie, like, I feel like the burnout is real. Like, there is so much stuff going on. I feel like we should do a whole separate episode on burnout when it comes to like drinking and beer and that kind of stuff. But I feel like my burnout is so real from just like everything, because I keep accumulating hobbies and things and giving myself tasks and picking up other tasks and then being like, oh, it's really important to make sure I'm doing these things that impact other people, so let me make sure that my commitments to like the other people are done. And then I'm also in my head like, oh, cool. But there's this thing that I can also do at the same time. I will say undiagnosed ADHD is awesome because we were having, Rick and I had a conversation and we were talking about project managers, and like somebody was saying about like, oh, you can't, I've got concerns about project management skills if you've got ADHD. And I was like, nah. F that noise. I was like,
Yeah.
because it is a superpower for project management, because when you are productive and
Hyper-focus,
multitasking,
right?
you are
Like,
productive and multitasking.
yeah.
So, but the problem is then I pick up all these things, I do all these things, and I can do it, but I want to do it well. I'm not going to half-ass it. And then at the
Yeah.
end, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted and I don't want to do anything for like a millennia. So that's kind of, this week has been a lot of firefighting, and I'm trying to balance hobbies, and we went to the cinema, trying to balance Rick, went to the cinema and all that. And then when it came to like
Trying to
tonight's
balance Rick, we have to balance our husbands and make
Well,
sure that,
yeah.
we actually do stuff with them and things.
Yeah, it's balancing like it's balancing like relationship stuff, hobby stuff, friend stuff. Because like I feel like there's probably people that need to hear this. Like sometimes it's not that I don't want to respond to people's messages. It's like I might look at someone's message, be like, I must respond to that in a minute, but I'm in the middle of something. I'll respond to that later, and then completely forget. But then like
Later
they must be
never
sat there
comes.
thinking that I don't care, and it's like, oh, it's not, or that
Yeah.
I'm not making time to go hang out or whatever. And it's like, it's not that I don't care. It's that I physically am like, oh, let me mentally check my diary for when I'm gonna have the mental capacity and the physical time to make your hangout worth your time. Because like if I'm brain dead, it is not worth you meeting up with me if I cannot end up having like a productive conversation. So yeah, I think people need to have some self-care for themselves sometimes. Sometimes you need to slow things down. And admittedly, it was like we needed to tie up things to be able to have like an episode that was about a specific topic, and I just didn't have enough time to come together to be like,
No.
okay, let's get this beer ordered in time, get this topic lined up. I feel like there's so many people we want to reach out to for interviews and all this stuff, but we're both so busy that it's like I just
Timings are not
haven't
working out at the minute.
had the time to put the wheels in motion to even
So instead,
attempt.
dear listeners, you've just got us. I'm sure you'll love it anyway. It's fine.
We're gonna do our
Are we going to do our topics jar?
topic jar.
I've definitely not been drinking very much lately. Like June, I did a lot of beer things. July, I had a big chunk of annual leave, which was nice, and I did like some little beer things, but not massive ones. And it's just been really busy, and I sit there on the weekend, and I'm like, oh, I could probably have drunk some of my beer, and I didn't because I'm doing I don't know what else. Yeah, it's definitely been really busy. I was like, oh, maybe this weekend I can drink some beers. That'd be nice. But as well, I'm going to a beer festival tomorrow, so that's going to, I'm going to drink a fair few beers there. So maybe I won't want to drink anymore over the weekend. We'll see. And it's okay. It's okay, listeners, to not want to drink beer.
But then I think that's the problem though, because for me, because then what happens is like I went on holiday and I bought a bunch of beer because I knew that it was stuff that I wouldn't necessarily be able to get again. And I was like, I'll bring stuff back for you, have some stuff for me, like great. And then they just have time limit. Like there's like a timer that starts for certain ones. And that's why I just try now to buy things that are wild and funky and free and whatever, because I think
wild and funky and free,
like how I'm mentally feeling at the moment. But I feel like doing that is like it can stay a lot longer than some of the other stuff that I maybe want to buy, but just I know that I'm never going to get around to it. So I'm doing my best to try to work through that stuff, or to like find not a justification, but find like, oh, okay, this weekend I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to have these beers, like to try to make through it. But what happens is like inevitably I go away someplace and then I go, oh, I need to get some of these from the local spot because I just don't have enough time to drink it while I'm there.
Yeah.
You could only have so much while you're there. And then I'm like, cool, take it back. And I'm like, I ended up with however many more and didn't even drink it there, took it home with me. Now I've got more beers and I don't make the time to drink them. I really, honestly, I think I wonder how much people think that we drink compared to how much we actually drink in terms of daily. Because I know people that literally will drink every night of the week. Like, I know that everyone kind of used to do that in COVID, but like I know people that still do drink every night of the week. And again, not shaming. That's some
Yeah, no,
people want to
you
come
do.
home
Yeah,
from
yeah,
work, they want to have a drink,
yeah,
and that's cool. That's not how I operate. I go
yeah,
like, if we're not recording, I'll be like weekends or special
yeah, same.
occasions, or recording for me, special occasion.
Yeah,
But like, I am just like, I think people probably think we drink so much more than we do, or like more frequently than we do.
yeah,
And I think it's the weekend and we're just like, nah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I don't like. So I'll be sat there and I'll be like, oh, I was gonna have a beer, and it's like now 10 o'clock at night, and I want to go.
That's the problem, isn't it? Do you do the same? So that's what I do. Is I'll be like,
I'm gonna have a
I'm
beer.
gonna have a beer.
Tonight.
I'm going to have a beer, but I don't want to have it too early, because if I
Yeah.
start having it too early, I won't be productive. I love a good day drink, but I will not be productive.
Yeah.
And then it will be like, it will go from like that to like, okay, it's early afternoon. Now I've still got some stuff to do. Let me be productive and finish the stuff.
Cook dinner.
And then it'll be dinner. Maybe I'll have like a cheeky bit of one with like dinner, maybe. Yeah. But then I'm like, well, I don't want to have that with dinner, because I feel like that might just ruin.
Yeah.
But like, it
and
might
also,
not work.
If I'm just having like a beer, I don't want to have to think about pairing it with my dinner. You know,
exactly.
That's a whole thing.
And then it's like inevitably dinner slightly late, or you're like, I'm gonna have a pudding, and then you're like, like on a weekend, it's like, oh, it's a pudding time, so that's great, have some pudding. Yep. And then by the end of it, you're like, oh shit, it's 9 o'clock.
Right.
It's kind of too late to sit down and have. I know some people would, but for me, I'm like, it's too late for me to start having the beer, because then I'm tired by that point. Right. Mentally, I don't want to participate in it anymore. I'm glad that's not just
let's have a hot chocolate, and we have a hot chocolate, so I don't want a beer, and then I'm like, oh, my beer window has disappeared.
That's it. And I think like, because beer there are so closed. Many they're shut, and then like the rollers come down. I think because as well, like, I share a lot of my beers with Rick as well. Like, it also is impacted because like he needs to be in the mood to have some of the certain things.
Yeah.
And if he's not in the mood to have some, I'm like, okay. He's like, you can have it without me, it's fine. But like, I don't want to. So I'm like, okay, I'll put that to the side. I won't have that one. But then it might be what I'm craving.
But then mine's the other way, because then sometimes I'm like, oh, I'd like that beer. Oh, but it's quite a big one, and Gordon won't share it with me.
Yeah.
You know, if I've only got a chunk of time, you know, I'm not going to be able to sit and enjoy the whole of that. So it's going to be a bit of a waste. Like there are many reasons why the beer window closes.
I love that, like the beer window. The beer window has now closed.
Like, my beer window is closed. Like, I can't drink it now.
That makes you chuckle, the idea that you're like, and it's 1 minute past, we're done.
No, it's too late.
Oh, well, so that's kind of why we sat down today, really, of doing a little chit chat and Q&A. What have you been up to lately? What's been going on in the world of you?
Well, I've actually been staying at home.
Have you?
Yeah, which has been really nice, because normally, you know, this time of year, there's usually lots of things happening, usually festivals and work things and places I'm jetting off to, and actually there hasn't been. So I've been enjoying being at home, although my beer windows haven't been open long enough for me to
you want beer windows. We already established the beer windows are shut.
Beer windows shut. I've drunk a few beers. Like my stash is a nice number at the moment. I'm pleased with how my stash management has gone this year. I think I've said that before. It's
you've been doing really good.
Well, I've been really good about not buying beer, I think, is the thing, because I've already got some, and I've just been kind of buying for what I'm going to use and then used it rather than let it sit around for a bit.
I wonder do you think that's also because of like the beer that's like you're being exposed to and stuff, like through work, and then obviously like if we're making orders for the podcast, it's like, okay, that's fine, but then like a lot of your going to places and doing stuff is like in a work capacity, and then you have all the drinks like in that moment, so you're not necessarily taking anything home, whereas like I'm going on holiday and I'm like, ooh, okay, let me get these things and take them with, and it's not like okay, we're splitting it out we're sharing amongst a bigger group or anything like that, and that's probably helped
as well. I'm not, because if I'm busy with work, I'm not going other places where I will buy beer for myself, because I haven't got time. So I've had less time to go places to buy beer for myself, unless it's been for a specific reason. So actually I have that has helped with my stash management. I've enjoyed being at home. I've been doing some journaling, and I've done a lot of reading this year, which I'm really happy about because
Nice.
I got really out of reading, and then last year I was like, right, I'm getting back into this. I'm finding time to read because I found. So I'm going to blame this on Gordon. Because
Okay.
I've always been a big reader. Like, I just like reading books. When I was on cruise ships, working backstage, like, there would be downtime between, like, quick changes and things. So I'd have my book, like, I'd read a lot. And then came home, started teaching, didn't have a lot of time, so didn't read a lot of books. When I met Gordon and we got together, the time that we spend together, the things that we do, like we watch television or, you know, we go somewhere, or like the time that we do things together takes away from time I have by myself to read.
Oh, I was wondering where you were going with the, like, I'm going to blame Gordon. I thought you were going to be like, he got me this book, which then made me realise I really wanted to. You were like, he takes away from my reading time.
No, but it's like the things that we do, or like we'll be watching something together, so I want to watch that rather than read, you know. We tend to like that kind of time.
I got you.
Is together. So then I started realising that I could use audiobooks on my commute.
Yeah.
Before COVID, that was good because when I could, like, I'd have time during a commute to use it, or I'd go on a walk at lunchtime, things like that. When we got into COVID and we were at home, I lost that time.
Yeah.
Again, so I was then trying to find places to do it, and I really got out of reading, and I was like, I really missed it, so I got back into it. Then with the current job, I have a lot of commuting time. I travel a lot. If I'm driving somewhere, so I like an audiobook when I'm driving, but only if I'm going somewhere that I know where I'm going. Like if I'm going somewhere where I don't know where I'm going, I've got to concentrate on the instructions. So,
right, okay.
So I don't want that other distraction, so I'll just have music on. I don't like the car to be quiet. I like to have something on.
Are you the type of person that's like, I need to turn this down so I can see better?
when I'm getting somewhere close, I'm like, need to turn it down now. I'm really concentrating. Like, I cannot be distracted. Yeah, I'm looking for a place. I need to turn this down. Definitely, I am one of those people. But
like, I need to back into this space. Hold on, I need to lower so I can see the space better.
Yeah, 100%. But when I'm driving to work, I have a long commute to and from work, so I get through a lot of audiobooks that way. I've also started like playing them while I'm cooking, or playing them while I'm journaling, or while I'm doing other things. So I've found the time again to read. And actually, I have like picked up my Kindle, picked up my iPad, and I'm reading ebooks and reading like physical books again, because I'm like, this TV show's on that Gordon and I are watching together, but actually I can read at the same time as I'm watching that, because I can do, like, I'm not that invested in this. I can read at the same time.
Oh my God, that would never fly in my house.
No,
Rick gets wound up that I look at my phone while we're watching
Gordon's
TV.
on his phone all the time.
I'm like, I can do, but I was like, I can do both actually, like really well. Like if you ask me what's going on, I can tell you exactly what's going on, and I'm still like paying attention.
Yeah,
it's that like undiagnosed ADHD brain that I'm like, yeah, I can do both. But like if I were to take he'd be like, do you want me to turn it off? Like
really? Okay.
Yeah, I think he'd be like, just go read your book if you want to read your book. I tend to find I read so I've been bad at reading the last few years because I just switched to podcasts and I just listen to so many podcasts.
Yeah.
And I think I could do audiobooks and stuff, but then I've got so many physical books that like I can't really get on audiobook. And then I'm like, I really want to start reading it, but if I've started reading one, I find it really difficult to be like, pause that and then listen to this audiobook. Or like, I know there's ones I want to do for the podcast, so I'm like, it's hard to start because I don't want to then not be able to take notes.
I've currently got 3 books on the go.
I just don't know how
I've actually got 2 audiobooks because I'm gaming the Spotify system.
How are you gaming the Spotify system?
Because I read, so you get 15 hours free with your premium, right?
I was just going to top it up.
No, I'm not doing that.
Like, don't be a sucker. Don't top it up.
No, I don't do that. So I read one and I have 5 hours left. So I've started one, used up my 5 hours. I listen to the rest of it next month. And then it all shuffles along. So then I'll have a chunk of time and I can find a shorter one and might be able to fit 2 in next month.
Why don't you just listen to one solidly?
Because it ran out. I ran out of hours.
I don't know. It's just, I'm confused. I'm confused on how the math don't be mathing, but I'm bad at math.
15 hours.
Yeah.
for your month, whenever it starts. So my month starts on the 9th, right?
Yeah, okay.
So I have 15 hours. I listened to one, and it wasn't 15 hours. It was like 10.
Okay, yeah, okay. So
I
I
have
get what you're
5
saying.
hours left over. I'm not wasting those 5 hours. I've listened to one, and then it will continue into the next one, and then I might be able to get a shorter one into the next month.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I've just got one that I'm reading because I'm like, I need to do one at a time, and I also don't want to like start reading one of our podcast ones when I'm not in a position to take notes. And I find I try to read at bed. When I go to bed, I like to try to be like at least read 10 pages in bed, and then eventually you'll get there. But then I feel like by the time I get to bed, I'm like, I'm done, and my brain is done.
The thing is, once we go to bed, Gordon is going to bed. And if I'm then like,
are you the people that are like, no TV, I'm in bed to sleep, power down, boop, 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 robot.
Yeah.
That's what we like. It blows our minds that people can get into bed and turn the light off and go, I'm going to bed now, night. And then just
literally
power down and go to sleep immediately.
We've got a TV up in our bedroom. I think I used it once. We've lived in this house for... When did we move in here? 2018. We've used it once, and I used it because Gordon was watching football downstairs, and I wanted to watch Bake Off upstairs.
It blew my mind here. Absolutely blow my mind.
Sometimes if he's tired, he'll go to sleep, and I'll be like, I can't sleep, so I will read a little bit. But if he's like, when we go to bed, we go to bed.
It always impresses me that people can do that. I'm not even going to lie.
Literally, Gordon gets into bed and he's almost out straight away.
I wish I had that ability. Instead, I lay awake and think about like my own mortality, and then I'm like, it's 3 a.m. I need to go to sleep now, and I've got to do it all over again at 7:30. Oh, anyways, our book habits probably aren't compelling for anyone. Should we get a question now?
Let's get a question. The topic jar is back, everybody. Once Tori can find it because it was missing.
Well, because I took it out because the fact that I was going to have to record a podcast away from home. Yeah, I was in Derby. So I took the stuff with.
Yeah.
And then I put it with all the podcast stuff. It didn't go immediately back in the jar because it was tucked away nicely. Yeah. And then I found it the other day and I went, ooh, going to put this aside. But the problem is I put it in an envelope that was labelled for something that I've got other envelopes that are similar. And so I didn't even think to look at there. And I was like, I've lost the envelope. But it was fine. I found it in the end. I just went back through and I went, I'm fairly certain this is the one. And I opened it and I was like, oh, it is.
Dun, dun, dun. We have lost the topic jar. Oh, no, it's okay. We found it.
It's fine. We got it. It's good. First topic.
Yes.
Let's see what it's going to be. Our table topics.
It's on a red piece of paper, which is...
Oh, yeah. Daunting. I mean, it's all on... I mean, I've got colourful stick. What do you mean it's daunting?
What does red mean? Is there a specific... Oh, it doesn't mean anything. Okay.
Yeah, bruh. They're all red.
Like, what if you colour... Oh, they're all red.
It was just...
what if you colour-coded there?
No, it was just the sticky notes I had. That would have been a good idea, though, as I should have done, like, would you rathers as one colour. Oh, maybe that's a future thought. Maybe I'll consider that for future.
That's what I've done. So that's what I'm doing with my TBR, right? So I've got my to be read list. I'm going to put them all in a jar so that I can pull them out and be like, and actually read them rather than being like, mood reader, I'm going to pick this up here. But I'm going to do them in different colours. So if it's a physical book, it'll be one colour. If it's an audio book, it'll be a different. If it's an ebook, it'll be another one. So like when I'm like, I want an audio book, I can pick that one.
So what you're saying is I need to then colour code these because, I mean, I do have other colour sticky notes. I just use this because they were to
level of intensity. I don't know.
No, but by the type of question. So this one that I've picked is an either or situation of like a would you rather this or this. And then we can talk about why. So the first one is brewery. Would you rather buy from a brewery that does one style really well, like really, really well, or a brewery that has a variety of different styles, but it is quite hit and miss?
Oh, that's
a hard one, isn't it? Because it's like when you think about like, let's just say, I know that we've been proven wrong on this, but somewhere like Verdant, where it was like hazy boys for days, and it's like, okay, cool, you know that you're going to get a consistency, like a consistently good IPA, like a hoppy IPA, double IPA, triple IPA, like those ones. But until we were proven wrong when we had their lager, it's like, oh, well, the other things, it might be like mate, it's fine. The majority is this because that is their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Whereas there might be somebody else that has way more stuff, but actually, out of 4 beers, 2 of them might be really, really good, and 2 of them might just be okay. Where you're kind of like, nah, wouldn't buy that one again. Whereas, would you rather one that you're consistently like, this is so good, I know what I'm getting 100% by the style, or would you rather risk it for a biscuit and be like, yeah, it could be a bomb whenever, one every 3.
That's really difficult because, I love me a Braybrook, I love me a Pillars. Like, know you're going to go to them. They do a brilliant lager. No,
I was going to say, let me caveat as well, like when we're talking about lagers, like with Braybrook or Pillars, like what I would say about this is like one style in the sense of like the broader sense. So like if they're a lager brewery, that they're going to do a really good lager. It doesn't have to be like a Czech Pilsner specifically or something like that.
That's how I was taking it.
Cool. I was like,
whether it's correct or not.
Just to qualify.
Like I love a Braybrook. I love it. Like, I love a Utopian. Like, but I also like I like a lot of different styles.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. Like we are beer polyamorous. Like,
it's true.
We like all the things.
Yeah, I feel like I need a minute to think about this because I feel like.
And is this a never again situation? Like, can I only ever go to the brewery with the one thing, and I can never go to the mixed one again?
Yeah. So like you have to choose, like you have to pick one and then dump the other, basically. So like, but I won't even say like you have to go to only a lager brewery or only a stout brewery or whatever. But like you can, like when you're going to some place, like when you're ordering beers or going to a place, it's either a brewery that that doesn't have a lot of variety in the sense of style, it's one style, or you can order beer or go to places that have a variety, but it's hit and miss. So you can still get that variety, because I'll be kind, like you can still get the variety, but you're not going to be able to scratch multiple itches at once. So you're going to have to be like, if you're going out, you've got to decide you're going out for a lager that day.
Oh. I mean, I've got to decide before I leave the house.
Exactly. Like you go, which one, or do you pick like?
Hard. I feel like this is too hard. I don't think I can do it.
I love how you're like, I refuse to answer. I refuse to answer. I plead the fifth.
Yeah, I just like. I don't think I can leave my solo style breweries behind, even though I like a lot of variety. That's why I just don't go to it. That's why I just don't go to any of them, and instead I go to a tap room that's got all of them.
No. That's off. That's
Why
off the menu. That's not a choice. You have to pick one or the other. You can't go. But I'm going to a bar that does all of it.
Yeah.
No, not in this fictional world. That's not an option.
I don't like this fictional world. I'm going to go to a different one. Find me the Doctor. I'm getting in the TARDIS and I'm going to a different place.
I'll answer. I don't want to answer. It's really hard.
It's hard. This one's too hard. This is too hard.
I think I'm gonna go with a brewery that has variety but can be hit or miss.
Okay.
And I think the reason behind that is when I go out someplace, like it's not suggesting that you're never going to get something that's as good of a quality or good of a taste. It's just that it will be. There's a chance that you might get one that's just okay, or not a great example or whatever of a style, but yes, it's more of a risk of it, but it could be a risk that pays off, and then you don't have to kind of decide of like, I feel like lagers today, and even then you might go, okay, it's a place that only does really good lagers, but then maybe it's like Oktoberfest. Well, this is a bad example because then I'd be like, yeah, definitely that, but like this season what's really popular is these type of beers, and therefore that is what you're getting. So like even then you have one style, but then it's even more narrow. Or like, hoppy. What if you're someplace and the only place that you can go to for you, the only place you can go to is like hoppy IPAs, and you're like, I don't want that. And I also think you lose creativity in some ways when you have places that just do really one style really well. Not that they can't be creative, but for me, I think the other places might take more risks.
Yeah.
And it could land really well, it could land horribly, but they might just take a bigger risk on something and like mush two things together that should never be together. Can you imagine that the Belgian breweries are like, no, that it has to be this one thing and really, really well. You can't be creative. You can't just be like, I guess this is the style.
The Belgians would flip you off.
Yeah, I know. They would not like this question. So that's my answer.
Like,
I think I'd rather go to a place that's a risk, that has variety, but comes with a risk. Because I think the payoff would be
If I really had to choose, I would agree with you, but I don't want to. I don't want to choose, thank you.
That's the best way to not answer. To not answer is to be like, I don't want to choose, but if I had to, I would also choose this.
But I don't want to, thank you very much.
Right, should I get another question out of the jar? Right. I'm just rummaging around. Oh, I accidentally got two. Okay, hold on. I'll let you pick left or right. Because this will be interactive.
Right, please.
Now I'm like, my right or your right? This right?
Yeah.
Okay, my actual right. I'm not sure how I look on your screen. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm mirrored or not mirrored. And I'm like, that could be really awkward if I'm like this one. And you're like,
I just picked left or right. It was up to you which one you decided was your left or your right.
Right. The next question is, if I can even open it. I've done the thing where I put the sticky seal together. To make sure it stayed stuck, so I didn't want to cheat. And then it's really hard to open. This is a good. This is potentially like a hot topic. You could get colourful with your response here. This could get you in hot water. How do you deal with friends who want to meet up somewhere like Spoons or Brewdog? When they're like, let's meet up for a drink, and the proposed spot is like, let's meet here. Like a place that maybe you wouldn't necessarily go to.
I wouldn't go to Brewdog.
I would not either. I have fat out been like, I will meet you after. I've had people be like, can we meet up at Brewdog Waterloo? Like, we'll meet at Brewdog Waterloo and then we'll go there. And I'm like, there's no shade. I'm not judging you. I'm not going there. I will meet you at the next spot. Like, I will meet you where you go next. I will be there.
Spoons tends to come up fairly regularly for various different reasons. And I've kind of just sucked it up and dealt with going to Spoons because there are other reasons why people go to Spoons. Like, I don't really like it. I don't like our Spoons before COVID used to have like really good local selections and stuff, and they just don't anymore. Like, we all know that they didn't pay people very well. They are going for the bottom line, which isn't good overall for the industry. But I understand why people go there because it's cheap, and some people, with the budgets that they've got, they need that. So I kind of bite the bullet and go with it, and see. I try and find on it what's good craft, and buy that because it's obviously been sold into them somehow. So try and go for that. I think the last time I was in the Spoons was for a work night out. We ended up in the Spoons, and I drank Burning Sky.
That's interesting that they had that on at Spoon.
I mean, it was one of their, it was like their pale ale. So it was like a core. It wasn't like a fancy Burning Sky, but yeah.
Still, I mean, that's an interesting one to have on. Right. So you'd probably, it's fair to say that you'd go, that's fine. Won't meet up at a Brewdog, but you're more lenient. Like, you wouldn't,
if I have
the way you'd handle the way you'd go, if that's where we got to go, that's fine. And you go to Wetherspoons. If somebody was like, let's go to Brewdog, you'd be like, can we go someplace else?
A certain person tends to steer us towards a Wetherspoons breakfast when we're doing work stuff.
No, I can't be doing that.
No?
I don't like breakfast at the best of times.
Oh yeah, no, you really don't like,
and I really don't like just like for me the greasy. I know some people really like a greasy breakfast.
They do American breakfasts now.
Yeah, I just no.
This is why I bring my own breakfast to your house.
No, like I would. I feel like that's the one time that I'm like feeling bougie. As I'm like, nah, like that's not the breakfast. Like that's not the breakfast for me. I'm also really like if I do a breakfast, I'm really basic. Like I'm like a scrambled egg, hash brown, maybe some pancakes, but that's kind of it. I wouldn't make that for myself. But like if I went out to breakfast someplace,
Yeah.
like I'd be like, go to Bill's, get some pancakes or something. But that's rare. That
Bills.
is.
Shame Bills isn't bougie. Hilarious.
No, I'm not saying Bill's is a bougie. That's probably the one thing That's the one thing I'm bougie with.
The one thing you are bougie about
is I'll be like, well, I'll go to Bill's for breakfast. Like I'm like, don't mix my words. 100%. That's my bougie spot.
We're also generally spending work money, so we're trying to keep it.
I get you. So, I get you. You know. I think in terms of like how, you know, from my approach to it, I always approach it where like for me, I don't judge somebody that wants to go to any of this, but like I'm like that's complete like, and I will never say let's like can we not go there in the sense of like I never go I'm not going, and that's that. If it's a situation where that's the first stop or a stop of the night, like if it's the first stop, I'll be like I'll meet you after. If it's a stop in the middle, I'll be like, that's cool. I mean, I'm not going to drink anything. I tend to not drink either of those places. I'll just be like, it's cool. I can just wait. Because I also don't want to make somebody feel bad if they do want to go. And like you said, somebody might have a reason why they want to go to Wetherspoons or whatever. I don't want to make people feel bad. I don't want to make people feel judged. It's just not a choice for me. So I tend to kind of either try to make an alternate suggestion if that's the only spot we're going to be at. I don't really share my feelings unless somebody says to me, why don't you want to go there? And then I'll be like, oh, and it's pretty matter of fact. Like, I don't like it for these reasons. It's not like this is my personal feeling is I don't like it for this. But I don't unnecessarily be like, you shouldn't go either. But yeah, that's kind of how I tend to approach it. I feel like we've been really reasonable with that, but I feel like that's like a hot button topic, which some people could be like, how dare you? But yeah,
if there are other options,
it's not for me. It's not where
if there are other options, I will opt for them. But I also understand why people take those options. I'm not going to lecture you about it because it's your options, but it's your choice. But sometimes the minimum thing we can do is vote with our spending.
Yeah.
And with our feet. And if that's a little thing, those people probably don't care that I don't spend
100%.
my money there or whatever, but I know when I've made that choice.
Yeah. And that I said that was just, I'm not suggesting that it's like only those places. I'm just saying like using those because they are the controversial ones, because those are the controversial ones. I was like, I'll use the controversial ones of like, because that gets the point across of why, like the type of conversation that you'd be having. So yeah. Cool. Right. Should we do another?
Let's.
Right. I just picked a rando one out that was nested inside of another one. Oh, this could be fun. What are some? I don't even know how to interpret this. I think I just wrote it down at one point when I had something on my mind. What are some craft beer red flags? This has the capability to be like. This has the capability to be a hot take, but also has the capability to be like, oh, here's depending on what direction we go with this, it could be like more educational.
When I ask for a glass and I get given a scratched up shaker pint.
Oh yeah, that's good.
In a beer bar, I was like, "Ooh, are you new, or do you need to do a little bit of training?"
Oh yeah, no, that's a good one. Or I'll do you one better when you are in specifically a beer bar and they just give you the can. And they're like, you have to be like, sorry, can I get a glass?
That's a specific episode thing that happened to me.
Yeah, it's happened to me.
In a can, and they just gave me the can, and I was like, "Can I have a glass with that?" And they were like, "Oh yeah," and chuck this, and it was a bar that I knew was usually good, so I was particularly like, I was like, "Oh, what do you like? Excuse me, why? Where has this glass come from, and why are you giving it to me? Like, what's what? Where are the tulip glasses?"
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that's that is. I've definitely had the experience where, like, what I found as well is it was far more common in the US to just be given the beer. Then
really?
with that's so much more common over there from what I personal experience.
Yeah.
What I gather is like just getting the can of beer and just drinking it straight out of the can and not in a glass. Maybe it just depends on where you go, but like if you are ordering a can of beer, I'd say 75 to 80% of the time they would be like, yep, there's a can, and then I'd have to be like, oh, sorry, can I get a glass please? And then they'd be like, yeah, and then they'd just
look at you weird because you wanted a glass. Hilarious.
And then I'm like, thanks. I mean, and then it's also because I'm taking the label off after that they're like double weird. But it's fine. Like I don't really even mind that at this point. But
if they've got too many lines.
Again, I feel like this is a personal attack to the US. We're like, we're not trying to hurt you. We're not hurting you, America.
Because are you turning over that much beer? Is it fresh?
I'm pouring another beer now. I've got a second beer out because I'm like, finish that first one. No, I agree. That is, I don't know though. It's difficult because I think maybe because I am used to US tap rooms, I don't really think twice about it.
If it's a busy place, if it's a popular place, then it's fine. You know they're ticking it over. But you know, if you go in and there's a lot of lines, you've got to hope that they're well trained, they're cleaning the lines, blah blah blah. Like there are things. And once I was like, can I have? I think I was at a wedding, and I was like, oh, can I have a Guinness? No, can I have? I was like, can I have? They had a local oyster stout, and I was like, oh, can I have the oyster stout? And they were like, oh, that's off. But you can but you can have the Guinness, which is basically the same. And I was like,
oh, you're like, no.
I was like,
not
no.
same.
I was like, no, it's not. And I literally went, no, it's not. But that's fine.
I love that they were like basically the same, and you're like,
same. I'm like, no, it isn't. But it's fine. I will have the Guinness. Thank you.
I mean, that's the thing is, I think with Guinness, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I feel like Guinnesses are always relatively like consistent in the sense of like, you know what you're getting. So normally if I'm someplace that doesn't have stuff,
is big, but you know what you're getting.
But I know what I'm getting. Like, I don't have to be like, shit, what am I going to get? So I feel comfortable enough to go, if I get this, I can guarantee somewhat of a particular quality.
Yeah, there's definitely I don't really like anything on. I'll just have a Guinness.
I'm like tempted to chuck the craft beer red flags back in as well for like a future, because I feel like
in case we come up with some more.
I feel like I'm really trying to think of someone, so my mind's just gone blank. I
was like, I was looking through a festival website and went for a little nose on some websites for breweries that I hadn't heard of before. And I think when you go on the about page, and it's always, we want to create unique craft beers, and then they've got a core range of a lager, a pale, and IPA.
Or
if you're lucky, a porter or an amber.
Or when they're like,
when they're like, beers, huh?
We're super about like diversity. Like when you have there are, there's been beer festivals I've seen in the past that have gone, we're super about inclusivity and promoting like diversity. And then you're like, there's like one female-owned brewery, no queer brewery. It's like no people of color. And you're like, cool.
You see you can pick out the diversity air quotes picture right away, and you're like, their content person was like, oh my god, there's a group of diverse people. Go.
Yeah, because it just comes off as like not authentic, like with the spread of like the other photos.
And I've discussed this with her. It's a picture of Lottie Peplow. Lottie Peplow is on every beer website, every beer event.
Yeah,
there's the picture of Lottie. There's always a picture of Lottie.
But it's because she's a queen, isn't it?
Like, it's me again. I'm like, it's because you're at everything, Lottie.
It's because she's a powerhouse. She's a queen. She's a powerhouse. That is why, and that is it's well deserved. And I would never argue it. I remember when I'm properly like met her.
Yeah,
because I've like seen her around, but then I don't be like, but I like properly met her. And then when I was like, She's like, oh yeah, I'm Lottie. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm Tori. She's like, no, I know who you are. And I was like, no, no, you don't. And she's like, yeah, I do. And I was like, oh, because my mind was so black. Because I was like, no, you don't need to introduce yourself to me. I very much know who you are. But there is no way you have any idea who I am. And she was like, no, I do. And I was like, great lie. Great lie. But she was like, no, I do. And I was like, oh,
who you are.
But in my mind, I was like, there is no way.
Brilliant.
Oh, but yeah, no, I think there's definitely been things that you see when branding markets one thing, but then like what you're seeing is something like so drastically different from that, and you're just like, oh, I feel like that is a red flag. I think when a place promotes inclusivity, equality, diversity, and all that, but then like they don't have a code of conduct and they don't have like everyone's welcome initiatives or anything like that, that to me is a red flag, because I'm like, what are you actually doing?
Yeah.
To like, this is how you feel, but what are you doing about it?
I said this in one of our previous episodes, but I get really excited now when I'm in a toilet and there's like free sanitary products and like ask for Angela or ask for Clive posters, and I'm like, this is the minimum simple thing that you can do.
Oh, maybe I need to do like
how many places don't have it.
Maybe I need to do like what a craft beer green flags as well.
Yeah, that's it.
And amber flags, which is like proceed with caution. I'll put them back in the jar. Should I ask ChatGPT what some craft beer red flags are?
Oh, my God, please.
Oh, okay. What are some craft beer red flags? Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. I bet it's going to be ridiculousness.
Right, while it does that, I'm getting my next beer.
Yeah, my next beer, while it's responding, because it's giving me quite a lot of things, I have got the Abbeydale Twilight Pilgrim Pumpkin Spice Latte Stout.
I haven't drunk mine yet.
Done that because instead of keeping the pair together, because we had the other one for another podcast episode, I was like, well, I've split up the pair now, so I might as well. And it's to honour this blessed Pumpkin Spice Day. So, and I did my shopping. I
nearly picked a pumpkin spice one for today, but I decided against it. I'm going to open Mr. Nice.
The best thing is I also have that beer and you have this one. And that's one of the ones that are in the fridge that I was like, oh, I could have that, but then I picked this one instead.
It is a sour ale with passion fruit from Little Beast Brewing in Portland, Oregon. I have had it. I had it at the tap room. It was delicious. Brought one home for Tori.
I took mine camping and then didn't actually get to open it because surprisingly we were so exhausted from pretending to canoe. I say pretending to canoe because we absolutely did canoe, but it was so shallow. I think we spent more time shoving ourselves off the rocks than we did, and then basically going in circles because something was, I think, wrong with our boat. I don't even know. So there was more of that than there was anything else. Yeah, we kept like pulling to the side no matter what we did, and it was just winding me up. And by the end, I was like, I'm gonna get out of this boat and I'm gonna walk. Yeah, I was like, I would swim, but it's too shallow, so I can't even swim. So I was like, I'm gonna walk, and there's ankle deep water. So by the end of it, I was like, I don't even want any more. I don't want anything. I want to go to bed because I'm gonna be in pain.
Oh, this is like passion fruit sherbet. It is delish.
I can say I'm enjoying the pumpkin spice latte. There's almost a bit of like a floral note to it, which is really interesting. And you really get that coffee. Like as I'm breathing out, you really get that coffee. Mm-hmm. And it's lovely. I did save myself based on the chocolate pairing. I ended up having we brought home chocolate from Belgium, and it was like more of truffle's not the word. What is the chocolate that they do specifically? I'm trying to think of the name of it.
The chocolate they do specifically?
Yeah. Praline. It was it was a praline, like a coffee one. Yeah. It was espresso, and I didn't realise, I didn't get that one because I thought it was going to be too soft and like it wouldn't be the right texture for the chocolate tasting. But then when I realised how we were eating the chocolates by the end of it, and we were not letting it melt on our tongue by that point, we were just eating the chocolates, getting the chocolate sweats. I was like, actually, this would have been perfect. So I saved myself one square. So that way, when I got another pumpkin spice beer, I could have it with that and to see how it worked out, if it tasted like a pumpkin spice latte. But I think it wouldn't work with this because this is a pumpkin spice latte stout. So so I've saved that.
Cancel itself out, really.
Yeah, so I didn't even want to pair them.
What's ChatGPT got to say for itself?
So ChatGPT, oh my god, it's given a lot of things. So we've got it's organized. So we've got brewery red flags, which is lack of transparency. If a brewery is secretive about their brewing process, ingredients, or origins, it might indicate they're cutting corners or not as authentic as they claim. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's one. Overly trendy releases. If a brewery is constantly jumping on every beer trend, e.g. milkshake IPAs, glitter beer.
Don't be coming for the glitter beer.
I did feel scammed.
Terrible.
I did feel scammed.
Well, one of the beers we had was definitely a scam.
I was like, I'm being scammed right now.
There was like 2 dots of glitter in it. I remember that.
I don't know if it just stuck at the bottom and we were meant to
no, because I
do a snow globe.
Yeah, there was like literally 3 dots of glitter in that beer that we shared. I had the Vault City one though, and the nucleation on the glitter just made it the glittery strawberry skies. You remember?
Oh, I didn't have that as well. Yeah, I opened it in the sink because I got the I opened it outdoors. Luckily. And then I said to you, I was like, this goes everywhere. No, but it wasn't just you. It was all over the Facebook groups as well. So I was like, I am going to open this in the sink. But basically...
Mikey said, that is a red flag because they had it on keg. Some places had it on keg. And I'm like, how the hell are you going to clean you're going to have to replace your lines after that. Because that glitter is going to stick in your lines. That's true. That was a red flag, actually. I take it back.
I've got, to be fair, that is, if a brewer is constantly jumping on a beer trend, e.g. milkshake IPAs or glittery beer without mastering any, it could be a sign that they're more interested in hype than quality, which that's an interesting point to make. Which kind of, I feel like, comes back to, though, like, would you rather variation or somebody that does something like really good, very loosely. I think another red flag that's made me think of, though, is like beers that are not shelf stable, because I appreciate that they do need to be kept cold, but when you have a beer that isn't necessarily shelf stable, it's not necessarily a red flag for the brewery, but like, I don't know, just if somebody is consistently doing that and it's not just a one-off or whatever, like you'd be like, well, you should be learning from your mistakes. Like, I can understand every so often it might happen, it happens to the best people, but like if you've got like in a short period of time numerous things that are happening like that, you'd hope that somebody would stop and be like, maybe we should check some of these or change our approach. You've got high turnover of staff. Oh, that's a good red flag. High turnover of staff. Frequent changes in head brewers or other key staff might indicate instability or poor management, which can impact the quality and consistency of beer.
That's a good one.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Oh, another red flag that I can think of as well is when somebody says like, oh, we are a very welcoming place. We, everyone's welcome initiative, all that. But then you witness people not behaving or like making inappropriate jokes to or in front of bar staff. And then they're just kind of allowed to stay. And nobody says anything to them. Yeah. To me, that is like definitely a red flag of like, well, you can either prioritize that you want people to feel comfortable and safe, and therefore you need to be thinking of like, I'm not saying it has to be for anything like minor or like where it's okay, where I could see the argument. Like if it's very clearly a flagrant, like that's not, people are going to feel uncomfortable with that. There's inappropriate language being used, not like swears, but like slurs. And stuff like that, and you don't tell those people to leave. Like you're not promoting a space that's inclusive for people.
Space,
no. So that to me is a red flag. You've got number 4 for the brewery one: poor hygiene in the brewery. Visible cleanliness issues like sticky floors, dirty glassware, or unkempt brewing areas can signal poor sanitation practices that might affect the beer's quality. I'm not sure I've ever come across something like that though. Even in like the tiniest little breweries, I don't think. Dirty glassware, yes. Sticky floors occasionally, depending on the place, but not where I felt like it's been somebody not keeping up with it.
Yeah.
Just if it's like really busy and clearly people have maybe spilled. Number 5, overly aggressive expansion. Breweries that expand too quickly without maintaining quality control often see a dip in the quality of beers, leading to the loss of the original craft experience. I don't know if I agree with that one.
I suppose it depends, doesn't it?
I don't know if I agree that that's a red flag for the brewery. I think it's a dumb choice for the brewery to aggressively expand. In terms of like financially, that's not a great choice. But I don't know if that's like a red flag for the brewery itself.
I feel like we just get less of that in this country, at least now, because of COVID. Like, people just can't expand rapidly, I don't think.
Maybe.
So we just don't see it.
Fair enough. Beer specific red flag. So it's giving me beer specific, which is oxidation, inconsistent quality, unpleasant sourness in non-sour beers, poor balanced flavors, or dull or flat appearance. But that's just like,
Just
I
rubbish
wouldn't say those are
beers.
red flags. That's
No,
just like,
just bad beer.
it is just like, yeah, probably not. I'm not saying they're not red flags. I'm just saying like it's just not good quality. There's no argue. You can't argue that. Yeah, they're red flags, sure.
Yeah.
It's giving me taproom and distribution red flags. So dirty draft lines, outdated beer. Oh, that's a good one. Outdated beers, past their best before or improperly stored, warm on shelves, lose their intended flavor. Yeah, I've definitely gone to places. Actually, I'm willing to make the argument for some places that just don't have the space to be able to put everything in a fridge. Not ideal, but it does. To me, that's more of an amber flag, I think, depending on the location. But outdated beer, it's like, if you're selling that full price and you're making a markup on that for an outdated one, it's like maybe you need to look at your stock and maybe cut down on how much you're ordering so that you can get rid of what's there.
Not going through it quick enough.
Yeah, I think another thing is like when somebody stocks up quicker on too many different things, but they don't have the business to back like selling it all, and it's just like they're buying stuff for them and then they get too much in, and then it's like you can't offload it quick enough, which just that's not great for them as a business, and it's also suggests you're potentially going to end up like ordering a beer that's again past its best before date. Poor glassware maintenance. So I guess like, how do you feel about when I find this is more of, I guess, an amber flag, but not even, because I'm not that bothered. How do you feel about when you go out and you get a dirty glass at a bar?
I feel like I can't go, like, it depends on the bar, because I generally feel like I can't really go and say anything. Like, I told you about, so when I did my sister own tasting exam, we all went for a beer afterwards, and we went into the pub and we all ordered beers, and there's like an advanced sister own and about 5 people who have just taken their certified sister own tasting exam, and they plunked some beers down in front of us, and one was so like there was just bubble like
what do you say about that?
And we were like, oh. We were like, this was not the table to put that glass down on.
No.
I don't think we said anything.
Out of every table that you could get.
This entire bar, this was not the place to put that glass down on. I don't think we said anything. Because again, you've got to determine, like, if you say that to them, are they actually going to do anything about it? Probably not. So is it a waste of...
And what are they going to do? Like... And the thing is, it's like, okay, it's not beer clean, but it doesn't mean they haven't cleaned it. It's just not beer clean.
If it was,
and then it depends on the size of the place. They might just not have the capability to kind of go through that type of process for everything.
I think if it was a place that was really saying that it prided itself on, you know, following everything and blah, 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 I might be like, just so you know, this isn't beer clean. Like, you might want to check, you know, you might want to check your dishwasher because it's not coming out fully clean, or, you know, somebody's put something in there with this. Like, if I felt like it was a place that would respond well to that because it's the type of level, or that
is what they're making, or if they're making their money of being like, this is the place that we are.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, I know the people, so I could go up and be like, you know?
Do you think you would? Like, do you think you would go up to somebody you know? And
if it was somebody that I knew well, I'd be like, that's not a beer clean glass.
I think I'd be even more likely to just be like, this is great.
I feel like no, but I think if we're friends with them, if something like that, and they're beer people, then I feel like they'd want to know from us if something like that was happening, right?
I think the difference is as well is like, I know half the glasses I drink of, like when I'm drinking out of glasses at home, obviously I want it to be clean, but I know that like realistically it's not always clean. So I think that's just like, I know some people get really bothered about not having
dirty glass mafia about it. Like I'm not gonna be.
But
like...
I know some people care more about that, and I think for me that's just like lower on the list of things that I care about. So I think because it's lower on the list of things that I care about, I feel like I'd be less likely even to go up to someone that we knew, because I'm just like, I wouldn't be bothered about it.
I'm probably more likely to be like, oh, look at that lacing. And like the opposite. I'm probably more likely to praise that a glass is done absolutely beautifully.
No, and I think that's it. It's like, if I have one that's like perfect and there's no bar, I'm like, oh, oofa doofa, look at this baby. Like I am like give this one a golden ribbon or something like that, a blue ribbon, golden award, whatever. That is, I completely agree with that. So there's that one, Paul Glass. So lack of variety in the tap room is another one, which I don't think that's. I think it depends.
It's a red flag.
It's amber, I guess, depending on how many tap lines there are. Yeah. And even then, that's not a red flag. That's just, it might not be for me. So. Yeah. I think it's just, maybe that's their market.
Yeah.
Number 5, overly high prices for mediocre beers. I mean, that's savage. ChatGPT's coming. the justification
is coming for you.
If a brewery or bar is charging premium prices for beer that doesn't live up to the cost, it could indicate a focus on profit over quality. Oh, that is cutthroat.
ChatGPT is throwing the gauntlet down. It's not taking your shit.
It's really
like,
not taking
your
your
beer better
shit.
be good if you're charging me money
and it better be a decent price. Like, do you know that they're like, this pint costs £6 near London? This is just too
That's
much.
cheap for near London. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but I feel like
in London.
Yeah, but I feel like we'd think that was a good price, but ChatGPT would be like, gouge, price gouge.
Cool. It's when you get the Daily Mail article that's like, they are charging £26 a pint for this beer.
Oh god, and you find out, and then you find out it's because they did the math, because it's like a 15 or 16% imported, like, really rare, only like 7 rare kegs in the world, and then like the most expensive pint ever, and you're like, you can't even get it in a pint.
You can't even buy it in a pint. You wouldn't want to drink it in a pint.
The last 5 red flags that they gave, it's marketing and branding red flags, and this is the one that I'm most keen to hear on. I'll read this out a little bit more. So, Number 1, excessive gimmicks, over-reliance on flashy packaging or unusual ingredients or outlandish names that cover up the lack of substance in the actual beer. I just want to say,
all right,
this is cutthroat. Know your place. No, read the room.
Tori is literally wearing her Vault City t-shirt. I'm like,
read the room. ChatGPT. When we put in the next order, I'm like, I need that deep fried Colin, number 1. Number 2, I need the cake. I need the cake. We need to order where we're going to get a deep fried Colin, because I actually arguably fucking love Colin the Caterpillar. I am a Colin connoisseur. Like, we did a science experiment.
We need to do a whole episode on this.
So,
with Colin
the fact that I'm a Colin connoisseur. So basically, we at work, when one of the people joined like 2 years ago, whenever it was she joined, we do weird or interesting facts at work, where it's like when you're introducing yourself, and hers was like, I once wrote a research paper with my friends, a scientific research paper on Colin the Caterpillar and like all the different caterpillar cakes and how they stacked up against each other to find out if Colin was actually the best one. So we ended up being like, well, we need to know. And I was like, I can 100% tell you which one's Colin. Like, my in-laws, like, that's what every birthday is Colin. Like, there's no option. It is Colin. So I was like, I 100% can tell you which one's Colin. To the point that we were like, we're doing it in the office. Got all the different Colins. There was like 4 or 5, maybe 6 of them. So you rate based on appearance, taste, like all these different, all the different things.
It's comprehensive.
So she's taken them all out of the box, First, we look at them, we rate them on the looks, and
Okay.
I immediately was like, 100% that one's Colin. All the rest are knockoffs. Like I don't know who the rest of them are, but I was like, based on the chocolate feet and the eyes, this one's Colin. Like all the rest can get fucked. Like I know none of them are Colin. I was like, I know M&S is superior. It's great. Then we like cut them up, and I was like, I can tell by the buttons and the feet, these ones are the Collins. So whatever. Tasted it, verified 100% Colin because it was nice and moist. It was great. I was like, as a Colin should be. That's great. Then she tried to bamboozle and she swapped the numbers around. So we had like another round of them, and I went, did you like we were outside and I went, did you swap the numbers around? And she went, maybe I did. And I went, you swapped the numbers around? And she went, I did. And I went, because this number that was Colin is no longer Colin. And she went, how did you know that? I went, because I'm a fucking Colin connoisseur. I don't know what you were like. I was like, I told you, I know Colin. That was not Colin. Like what you tried to give me was not Colin. I was like, the buttons weren't right. That none of it was right. So don't play a player. I was like, I know my Collins. So yeah. So basically, I really TLDR really want this deep fried Colin beer, but I think it's probably I feel like it's probably out by now though, because everyone wanted the deep fried Mars bar and that went really quick and that was really good. Deep fried Colin, I want one so bad.
We'll see what we can do.
Oh, and they're cake
listeners
ones.
If you have a deep fried Colin that we can each have, let us know.
I'll buy it. I don't even care. I'm not asking it for free.
Yeah, no, we'll buy it from you.
I think, okay, so my number one of, is excessive gimmicks a red flag? Absolutely not.
I don't think so. I don't agree.
I love a gimmick. I love a great flag. When you're like, oh, unusual ingredients, love that. Yeah. That's appealing to me. Flashy packaging. I'm a magpie. Right. Love it. Outlandish names. The more outlandish, the better. What else? Except for the last part, which is it covers up the lack of substance in the actual beer. Who's deciding that? I don't trust ChatGPT. Just saying. Thought City represent. Number 2, misleading labels. Labels that exaggerate or misrepresent the style of a beer, ABV, or flavour profile can lead to disappointment and signal a lack of authenticity. I don't know if that's a red flag just as much as that is annoying.
Yeah, it can be just annoying, but also sometimes I think that's like tight timescales at breweries. Like,
yeah,
the amount of times a brewer has told me, "Oh yeah, I was brewing this," and then they were like, "I'm going to do the label. What does it taste like?" And they're like, "I don't know because I haven't finished it yet." They're like, "Give us a ballpark," and they're like, "Oh, it's going to be this, this, and this." And like, okay, and that goes on the label. Like, that's not necessarily they're not trying to mislead you. Sometimes it's just the way it is.
Yeah, I don't think I need that as much because I think like I like to try to make my own mind up versus like you could tell me this is what it's meant to taste like, and to me it might not land that way. So I don't think I need that as much. I think I wouldn't even say it's a red flag. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
What annoys me more, like I think the misleading is annoying because you might buy something and be like, that's completely different than what I thought.
Yeah.
What's worse though is like just having no facts.
No information whatsoever, yeah. That's super annoying.
I think that's the problem for me, is like the no facts is the problem. And I understand how some instances people's thoughts are, well, this is something that we rebrew all the time and we want to have one label. We don't want to have to like, if we change the hops, we don't want to have to like change that. And that's, I get that. But like if all of your beers are lacking information, I think there are people that don't want to turn the can like 80 degrees to try to read it. If I've got to turn it around and find it, I don't care. It's fine. I just like to have the ingredients somewhere on the label so I can see what type of, but that's just because I'm a nerd. I wouldn't say it's a red flag. It's just annoying.
I don't think so.
Number 3, overemphasis on awards. While awards can be a sign of quality, breweries that only highlight their accolades might be trying to compensate for their current mediocre offerings. Oh my God.
That's harsh.
That's really harsh.
That's really harsh.
I feel like I wouldn't write it that way.
Yeah, ChatGPT.
Who hurt you, ChatGPT? Who hurt you?
It's ChatGPT is upset with some brewery. I don't know what one it is, but they're very upset with them.
Honestly, they're like, this particular brewer's hurt me, and they're like, yeah, if you've got flashy packaging, gimmicks, and you win awards, get out. It's only shit. You'll be a shit. Just calm down. It's okay. I don't think I pay that much. I would say I don't think I pay that much attention.
I don't
I
really pay
think
attention.
when I see like the Beers of Britain or World Beer Awards, I go, okay.
Yeah.
I don't really think about it much.
I
So
don't. Maybe we should.
we probably should, but I just go, cool.
I just want to know if it's from Fobab.
Yeah, the Fobab for the win. Fobab FTW. I think the problem is though I think for me it's probably more of an amber flag when they're like, if it's like 2024 and they're like, we won silver.
Oh yeah.
In
you know.
2013, and you're like,
okay, cool.
girl, it's a decade later. Great. I feel like that's the equivalent of that meme where the guy's like biting the the medal and then like spraying everyone and all that. Like that's the I'm like, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
Number 4, bland or generic descriptions. Beers with vague or overly generic descriptions might indicate a lack of creativity or confidence in the product. Again,
I feel like this goes with the labeling thing. Like, I don't think so.
And the last one, over marketing without substance. If a brewery spends more effort on marketing than on the quality of beer itself, it might be prioritizing image over substance. Again, I don't think I pay that much attention to the market. Like, I don't really.
Yeah, the marketing ones were not good. I don't agree. Like,
no,
whatever.
I don't agree. I feel like they're just trying to. I took it personal. Well, there you go. There's a red flag. I think I might put that. I'll put that one back in, but then I'll also put one in for green flags. And then now you know this is a wild card that could come up again, and maybe I will switch it up and I'll do like different colors for different types of questions. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll do green flags and amber flags. That'll be good.
Cool.
Well,
here we are.
Here we are.
Tori, if listeners want to send their questions in to be put into the topic jar, where can they get hold of you?
Absolutely. We've been collating. So if you want to submit any of your own, you can message the podcast. Well, I mean, you could just DM us on Instagram at A Woman's Brew. We're also on Facebook, or you can email us in if you want us to like look at, if you want to hear our opinions and weigh in on different news stories, or you want to submit things that way. If you've got a whole laundry list of them, please feel free to email us at awomansbrewpodcast@gmail.com. I mean, I want to know how you feel about excessive gimmicks. I want to know how you feel about Colin. Let me know if you feel, how do you feel about Colin versus Cuthbert versus all those other fakes, the phonies? They're absolute phonies. How do you feel about them? You can message me at adventures_in_hoptimism on Instagram, or at adventuresinhoptimism@gmail.com. Joe, people want to talk to you about these marketing and branding red flags. Where can people talk to you about them?
I just don't feel like they're red flags, really. I think someone hurt ChatGPT and they're having a bad day. But you can come and talk to me. I am Love Beer Learning. You'll find me mainly on Instagram. You can also find me on Facebook. I'll definitely respond to you there. A couple of other places, but I don't really go there anymore. So Instagram and Facebook it is. You can also come to my website, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk, or you can email me, lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. Get hold of me somewhere. I'm about.
Gonna go finish my beer now.
Let's go finish these. Cheers.
Cheers.